Mr. Yates, welcome and thank you for being here.
Pleased to join. Thanks so much.
Would
Appreciate the
love
warning too.
Okay, good. Would love to hear from you while we'll bring in your colleagues here. Just your overall, so everyone has a baseline. How are you feeling about what's happening with Iran? The Vice President Cheney, I would say, was the ultimate hawkish neocon about such matters. But would love to hear what you think. What's going well? What are your concerns? What's your sort of overall view of this operation?
Yeah, well, I certainly think back to what things were like 20 plus years ago, and there's a lot of baselines. I think the whole country feels like they learned painful lessons from the Iraq experience that they don't want repeated. And I agree with a lot of those assessments. President Cheney had a very direct way of saying, I pay you to give me the best advice, and I'm under no obligation to take it. He made his own decisions. We went through a situation with Iraq that was a lot was lost, and I was the deputy that was responsible for the rest of the world at that time. But I still believed very much that Saddam should have been removed. I just didn't like the occupation that came after. And I think that President Trump had a more visceral reaction, like a lot of the country does now too, that shouldn't have taken Saddam out, and certainly the occupation was off. And so I see President Trump as trying to thread a bit of a needle. I think there was definitely a cooking frog in terms of the national security imperatives in the broader region. We have the Abraham Accords foundation with which to work that's fundamentally different, and I would argue better than what the Bush administration had to work with back 20 years ago. And in a lot of ways, it was those Arab allies that were pushing for this action to be taken. A lot of our narrative is really focused on Israel. That's understandable to a degree, but I think that it's been underreported that a lot of our Arab allies have been deeply concerned about developments in Iran, and they were the foundation of the Abraham Accords, and that was to try to contain the malign influences of Iran. In terms of how this is unfolding, I think that what the president has unleashed is very, very risky. You have to acknowledge that. But he's doing what I think threads this needle. We're going to knock things down. We are inviting regime change, but we are not conducting regime change. Otherwise, if they develop new programs back where these were, a bad leader emerges again, then we play the world's biggest form of whack-a-mole again. I think that is what the strategy has been, and I can understand the rationality for it. But there's definitely a lot of risks. There's homeland security risks, there's regional risks. But I have to say, so far, those risks have been managed, including even insurance for commercial shipping. Lloyd's of London used to be the primary provider for that up until a few days ago. And President Trump's coming up with an innovative way to try to even fill that gap. So I have to give them credit for trying to fill a lot of these risk management areas.
Thank you for that, Steve. Really thoughtful and well said. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of regrets in my life. The single greatest regret I have is at the time when the URL jasonmbrodsky.com was available, I did not purchase it. And in my hesitation, in my failure to act on my instincts, it was snapped up by our next guest, Jason M. Brodsky. Jason, welcome in. What year did you buy that URL?
Oh, a long time ago. I haven't even
Yeah.
updated that website for
Yeah,
years.
you snatched it away from me. Jason works with my friend Mark Wallace for an organization that has been just steadfast, intense, and what's the word? Focused for many years. The UANI on making sure that the Iranian regime could never obtain nuclear weapons and threaten the world in other ways. Jason is the policy director there. Jason, what does UANI stand for?
It stands for United Against Nuclear Iran, and it's a bipartisan organization. We have bipartisan roots.
Yeah. So Mark Wallace, for instance, Ambassador Wallace worked for George W. Bush, and before his passage, Senator Lieberman was a big supporter of the group, and other Democrats and Republicans. It is a bipartisan group. Jason, tell people why you support this action, and then what your biggest concerns about the action are.
Well, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me on the show. I think what President Trump has done is unprecedented and historic as it relates to the Islamic Republic of Iran. I believe the Trump administration views this as not starting another war, but ending a war that the Islamic Republic started in 1979. The system was birthed in hostage taking. As many of your listeners will recall, the Islamic Republic seized the U.S. Embassy and took 44 Americans hostage. And we currently have Americans still being held hostage as we speak in Iran. It's a regime that's soaked in American blood. And while some policymakers in the United States may not have viewed the United States as being at war with Iran, the Islamic Republic viewed itself as being at war with the United States in a low-grade war for many, many decades. And I think that President Trump has overturned a lot of faulty assumptions and broken a lot of taboos as it relates to Iran policy over the years, and that has encouraged him to undertake this historic decision. Let me explain what I mean by that. Dating back to the president's first term, he was advised that if he withdrew from the Obama-era Iran nuclear deal, World War III would break out. But guess what? World War III didn't break out. He was advised after he designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a foreign terrorist organization in 2019, also that it would cause uncontrollable escalation. But guess what? It didn't. He was advised when he decided to take out the late Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani in 2020. Also, that World War III would break out and the U.S. would not be able to manage the situation. But guess what? It did manage it, and Qasem Soleimani's demise was a win for U.S. interests in the region because it disrupted the IRGC's Quds Force's operations and their ability to wreak havoc in the region. And the president in this term was also advised that if he struck Iran's nuclear sites during Operation Midnight Hammer last year, as many of your viewers will recall, when the U.S. bombed Iran nuclear sites, that too would result in a world war. But guess what? Didn't happen. And so I think that all of those experiences have motivated the president to believe that his instincts have been right on Iran from the very beginning. And I believe they have. And so that is what is motivating him to make this very high risk but high reward decision as it relates to Iran.
Jason, the danger you face now is twofold. One, the Trump administration is probably going to try to hire you as a spokesperson because that was as good as anything I've heard come out of anyone from the government. Number two, you face my wrath because you didn't answer my second question. What concerns, stipulating you're fully supportive, where are your concerns? For instance, are you concerned that there's nuclear material that will be struck and cause an environmental catastrophe? Are you concerned that there'll be a repressive regime in Iran that will be even worse? Are you concerned that Americans will be killed? Where are your concerns with this operation?
Sure. I'm concerned that Americans will be killed. They've already been killed, sadly. The president seems prepared for that, and I think he's preparing the country for that in some remarks. That's number one. Number two, I am concerned about what will happen next after, with Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, being taken out, because this system has been built to survive. And if we have a regime that takes shape after this that is continued to be hard line, that will be a setback, I think, for U.S. interests. But it will have been defanged militarily and humbled militarily by the United States and Israel as a result of this action. So that buys the United States more time, regardless of whatever regime takes shape after the supreme leader perished. I'm also concerned about the homeland security threat, as you mentioned, Mark. The Islamic Republic has for many years tried to develop networks in the United States through transnational criminal syndicates to undertake terror plots on demand, essentially, when the Iranian leadership decides to strike. And I think our law enforcement, thankfully, has been quite successful at disrupting those networks, but they only have to be right once. We have to be right always. So that is a risk. And with proper, prudent managing, I think we're prepared for that risk, but we have to be on guard for that.
Well said. I'll tell you, you can get 20% off Cozy Earth on everything on the site. The bubble cuddle blanket, the pants, the sheets, the towels, everything, 20% off. Just use the promo code 2A, 2WAY. I don't know that it matters when you type it in the promo code, but just don't spell it with lowercase. T, capital W, capital A, capital Y. That's our trademark. Spell it right. Buy some gifts for folks. Buy some stuff for yourself. You've seen the many, many photos we've shown here of the bubble cuddle blanket and dogs. Dogs love the bubble cuddle blanket. I can't explain it to you. I'd like to run a scientific test, but I can tell you anecdotally, do a focus group of dogs. Bring 12 dogs into a room, sit them around a conference table, throw a bubble cuddle blanket in the middle of the table. Every one of those dogs will get on there. Every one of them. Try it for yourself. Buy a bubble cuddle blanket and invite some dogs over. Go to CozyEarth.com. Use the promo code two-way for a full 20% off. Refresh your routines with comfort that makes every day feel like a new year. CozyEarth.com. Hey, want to be part of the two-way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes, and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing. You can now listen to full episodes of The Morning Meeting and Two Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.